and very confidently announces that he's all in. I am dreaming of Vegas and the effing Mirage. Then decide to go for a very milky $350. And he fucking snap calls the river. Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is Garrett Blackwood. Welcome back to the vlog. So we're going to do a highlights reel for the next 3 days. We're going to whiz through it. We're going to do big pots only. Lots of poker. I'm excited. Are you excited? Let's do it. Alright guys and girls, first things first, before we do anything, it's cheat day today. We're heading into Guy Fieri's Flavor Town in the Horseshoe. Look at this menu: burgers, nachos, desserts, absolutely insane comfort food. I've opted for the Mac Daddy fried chicken sandwich and it was absolutely incredible. No regrets here as I'm waddling out onto Las Vegas Boulevard after this. Let's do a quick artsy travel montage as we head across into the Bellagio. Alright, into the Bellagio we go. I've got $5,000 in cash with me. The rest of my bankroll is on deposit here at the Bellagio if I need it. I get myself plenty of chips. This game is a $2,500 cap, but you guys know me, I need my rebuys. I play no hands of note at this table before being moved across to a new game. It doesn't look like a great game, but it does look like a lot of fun. We've got Jamin Burton. He's one of the best Vegas vloggers out there in the game. He's not recording tonight, but as I sit down with my camera, one of the other players at the table says, "Jamin, you're not going to start recording and show this guy who's boss?" Jamin smiles, sits back in his chair and says, "I don't need to. I'm vlogger of the year," to the absolute delight of the whole table. This is all in good fun. Jamin is an OG vlogger with a great sense of humor. I've played with him before. It's a lot of fun playing with him. Very nice of him to show me here that he bluffed me in a small pot as well. Thanks for showing me that one, buddy. On to some actual poker night, and for this next hand, I'm on the button with pocket jacks. The straddle is on here, and early position raises on up to $50. He's an unknown UK pro who also speaks pretty good Spanish, I might add. I call here on the button with my jacks. We can go both ways pre-flop here. The straddle calls as well, and we go 3 ways to the flop. It is 10-9-7 all black. Action checks over to me, and I'm just always betting my pocket jacks here. I bet out for $60. The straddle gets out of the way, but the original raiser sticks around in the form of a call. The turn is the ace of spades, not a great card, and when it checks to me, I fake tank for a few seconds, knowing full well that I'm just going to check this one back. The river is an offsuit queen, and now the original raiser bets out for $70. Very standard, very solid line from him to bet out for small on the river here with a lot of his range, but I think most players here are going to be quite unbalanced when it comes to river blocks. I basically think he's got a one pair hand always. I've got lots of hands like King Jack and Queen 10 and maybe pocket queens as well that want to raise here, so I make it $230 to go. My river range is not only flushes that have checked back the turn, I've got some two pairs and some straights and some sets and stuff like that as well. Absolutely delighted with myself as he makes a very quick fold. He asked me as he's folding if it'll be on the vlog. I say of course. I always put my sick bluffs in the vlog. This leads him to think that I've got value here. He guesses Queen 10. I tell him that it'll be on the vlog and he's got to watch it to see. Nice guy, didn't catch his name. Lots of fun to play with him though. Also, no tracker today, guys. I am flying free, not counting my stack, so we're just going to have no tracker for the day. 10 minutes later, I pick up the J-Boys yet again. This time I'm in the small blind. The cutoff is a Spanish reg. He raises it on up to $30. No straddle for this hand. I, of course, put in the re-raise. I make it $130 to go. Action is back on España, and he very quickly makes it $270 to go. I really like the way this guy plays. Not only is he pretty good, but he takes 10 seconds max for every decision. It's absolutely fantastic. We're like 2.5k deep here, so I decide to just call. We go heads up to the flop. It is ace 4 deuce again, all black. I check to my opponent, and he's going to throw out a c-bet of $130. This feels really close, even with a club in my hand. People don't 4-bet the pocket 8s, pocket 9s type hands at the 20-ish% frequency like they should, and almost all of his 4-bet bluffs here contain an ace, so we lose to that value. He doesn't have many worse hands for value, and his 4-bet bluffs have made top pair. I actually come so close to folding here, but I decide that his bet is not 25%, it's less than quarter pot, so given it's a smaller bet, we're more inclined to call, and I think we have to make this call here. We go to the turn, which is an offsuit 9. I check to my opponent. He thinks for a few seconds and just checks it on back. The river is an offsuit 7. Nothing really changes. I'm obviously never bluffing with this hand here, but I'm kind of asking myself as I fake tank, what are my bluffs here? I think it's just our missed flush draws, to be honest. I don't think we bluff with anything else. I check to my opponent. He snap checks back. Maybe we've got a chance of winning here, but alas, I lose to ace 5 of diamonds. A little unfortunate there, especially after the turn and river go check, but I think we played the hand well. Like I say, flop is super close. When we really think about what his range looks like, it doesn't feel all that appealable to call, but given the small bet, I think we can. A whole hour goes by before I play my next hand of note. I'm in the straddle with Queen 7 of diamonds. The cutoff is raised to $50. He's an unknown reg. He's played pretty solidly so far. Action is on me and I defend my straddle. No rake, good price, pretty easy call. We go heads up to the flop. Queen 6 deuce rainbow with 1 diamond. Decent start for me here with top pair. I check to my opponent. He bets $40. Very standard stuff. I think he's just going to range bet the flop here. And I, of course, make the call. The turn is the jack of diamonds to give me the flush draw. I check and my opponent bets again, this time for $150. I would expect an overbet here on the turn, but I'm absolutely not complaining. It's a little bit of a cheaper price for me to make the call. The river is the queen of clubs. Really nice river here. I thought about leading out, but I don't think we have a lead here. My opponent obviously has a lot of hands that we don't have, like sets and, you know, better queen X and stuff like that. So I check it on over to my opponent, and he now overbets. This is his time to overbet. He decides he bets $750. This is a huge bet, and I feel like he's just targeting exactly what I've got. A weaker queen. He's going to do this with hands like pocket deuces, pocket sixes, better queen X, and if people bluff here, they don't bet 1.5x pot on the river. So I decide to make a bit of a ridiculously tight fold here with my 3 of a kind. This is quite tight, but like I say, it looks like he's targeting the type of hand that I've got. This is really nitty. Unfortunately, he doesn't show, so I don't get to see, but I feel like these are spots where you can just make really nice savings when people, as Patrick Leonard would say, people get a little bit greedy. This is a greedy river bet by him, and I've made the disciplined fold. No time to linger on the thoughts of whether or not it was a good fold or a bad fold though, because a couple of hands later I'm in the small blind with king queen offsuit. The button is raised to $60. He's the good aggro fast Spanish reg. I'm going to put in the re-raise to $240 from the small blind here, and he's going to make the call. We go heads up to the flop. King 9-4 rainbow. Top pair, good kicker. I see bet my hand for $170, and within about 10 seconds, the button makes the call. The turn is the 4 of spades, pairing the bottom card. It's tempting to just check here, but I think we want to bet this hand extremely often. We don't have a spade in our hand, so he's more likely to have a flush draw. He's got a lot of worse king X that he can call with. He's got a lot of 9x, and he's the type of guy that maybe calls with hands like pocket 8s as well. So I bet again at this time for $550, and again he makes a very quick call. The river is super interesting. It's the king of spades. I really can't work out what to do here. This guy plays so quickly, but I'm tanking for ages on the river trying to work out how big I want to bet. In the end, I decide to go for a very milky $350. My opponent is emotionless, and still he's really thinking this spot over, not playing within 10 seconds now. He eventually grimaces and puts in a few chips, and once again it is milking accomplished. It's a bit of a greasy river bet by me, but hey, you gotta get paid somehow, right? Next up, I'm in the straddle and look down at pocket 7s. The cutoff is raised to $50. The big blind makes the call, and I call as well. We go 3 ways to king 7 deuce rainbow. What a great flop for me here with middle set. The cutoff C bets for $60. The big blind gets out of the way, and I will always raise my deuces here, but I think my opponent is just range betting here, and pocket 7s block some of the types of hands that he can bet call with. It's also a dry board, and this guy loves to barrel versus weakness, it seems, so I decide to just call. The turn is the ace of spades, flush draw now possible. Time to start building this pot. As expected, the cutoff bets again, this time for $200, and I bust out the turn check raise. I make it $720 to go. We're really quite deep here, so I think in hindsight I prefer like $850. Just a bit too small here by me. The cutoff is giving nothing away here as he thinks for a few seconds and makes the call. Hoping for a clean river, a red 4 is as clean as can be. I'm trying to work out how much to bet on the river here when the angriest, most meanest cocktail waitress ever brings me across my sex on the beach. Like I say, it's cheat day. One sugary alcoholic beverage while I'm playing tonight is acceptable. Now there's $1,600 in the middle. I've got 2.9k behind. I decide to milk my opponent instead of jamming. I bet out on the river for $1,200, trying to get a side call from a top pair type hand, maybe even a hero call from something like king queen. He thinks I've missed my flush draw or something. He does not call. Instead, after 20 seconds, he eyeballs the dealer and very confidently announces that he's all in. I immediately exhale. I quietly announce to myself that this is so sick and effing disgusting. I ask the dealer for a count. He counts out that the cutoff is shoved for more than me. It's about $1,700 $10 more for me to call. I just don't think I'm ahead here. I'm never calling 2-pair on the river here versus a jam, so it feels like he can't shove ace-king himself if it's not getting called by worse. He's also bluffing here like 0.001% of the time, and I can't beat value. As sick as it is, I just don't think I have the best hand here. Why would he shove ace-king? I'm not calling ace-7. After about 90 seconds, I just sigh and tell myself that this is the literal top of my range. I can't have a stronger hand than this. I can't bring myself to fold. Maybe he's got ace-king. I doubt it, but yeah, call. He confidently turns over his hand. Oh no, he's got pocket deuces. I immediately feel like the worst guy in the world. I apologize profusely as I turn my hand over. He looks at it. He does not look at me. He silently pushes his chips in, reaches into his bag, grabs a couple of 1K chips and puts them on the table, all the while not even acknowledging my existence. I feel really awful about this. This pot being pushed my way is absolutely ginormous. Like I say, I didn't expect to see worse for value. I never expected a bluff. I cannot tell you how close I came to folding this, but in the end, this is a disgusting nit roll. If my opponent is watching, I am really sorry. I'm just a disgusting nit. It wasn't a slow roll, it was a nit roll. I call it off for 4.5k with second pair, but tank call third set. Someone make it make sense. In all seriousness, I was a bit embarrassed about this, so I decided to just go grab some racks. Like I said, the guy is super smooth. He doesn't even look at me, but I really don't feel great about this Omega nit roll. So I grab some racks and head on over to the cashier, booking a win of just under 4k for our first day in this epic poker montage.
Alright troops, we are done. Immediately after that disgusting nit roll, I racked up and left. I was a wee bit embarrassed and also a little bit delighted to lock up a win as well. Currently right in the center of Las Vegas Boulevard, crossing the road here. I want this to be fast paced, so we're not going to review the session and like talk about it and stuff. Day 2 coming right at you. We're going to switch to that right now. Let's go. Alright guys, welcome to day 2 of the poker montage. I'm here in the Bellagio Sportsbook doing my intro. I want to give a shout out to Lee Jones for reminding me to shout out Andrew Neame, who used to do this all the time. I edited yesterday and it's 15 minutes long. It's supposed to be a poker montage, so today is going to be much tighter, just big pots, no medium pots. But yeah, let's check out some hands and let's keep it big pots only for day 2 of the poker montage.
Okay guys, straight back into the action we get here. I actually did sit down at a 5-10 game, but they started at 10-20 10 minutes after I sat down. So we're just going to skip the 5-10 and go straight into the good stuff, the 10-20 game. I'm in the same seat that I was in the last time I played up here, and the last time I was up here in the same seat, I lost $9,000. I am determined to play better here, bang in here for $3,300, bit of profit of 5-10 coming across as well. The game is starting 6-handed. I've got the best seat in the game. Let's play some cards. First hand of note comes 10 minutes into the session. I'm in the big blind with King 9 of clubs. The cutoff opens to $60. He's a handsome European looking reg. 3-betting this hand sometimes, but really not that often. I go ahead and make the call. The flop comes down King 6-4 rainbow with 1 club. Decent start for me here with top pair. My opponent c-bets for $60 and I go ahead and make the call. The turn is the Queen of clubs. I of course checked my opponent. He thinks for a few seconds and then just checks it on back. The river is a really safe looking 3. I think we for sure want to have a small bet size here for some of those second pair type hands that we've got, but our quote unquote big bet size will probably be bigger than pot because of the queen on the turn. We're a bit more polarized now and we're less likely to be betting hands like pocket 8s. On a low run out, I'm probably going to have block and pot as my 2 sizes, but on the queen turn, I think we do want to have that small size, but our big size is probably going to be overbet. Long story short, I bet $360 here in the river. My opponent doesn't look happy, always a good sign. He thinks for a little while and eventually does make the call. I show my hand and he nods his head. He actually looks back at his cards and then again at the board, maybe looking to see if it's somehow a chop, if he's got a king with a worse kicker, for example. Either way, a very nice pot coming my way here. Hoping an even bigger pot will be coming my way, though, when I look down at pocket kings just a few minutes later. I'm under the gun and raise it on up to $60. The button is going to make the call. He's the handsome Euro we played the last hand against, and the big blind is going to call as well. He is a splashy non-pro. We go 3 ways to the flop. It is 10-9-6 all block. black. The big blind is going to check, and I think we've got a pretty mandatory check here out of position. I check as well, and the button is going to take a stab on the flop here. He bets out for $120. The fun player folds, and we've got to be somewhat respectful of this stab here. He's not going to be in there with hands like ace-3 with a backdoor flush draw because the fun player is in the pot as well, so he's going to be a little more ABC with his stabbing range. With that in mind, I don't check raise my hand, I go ahead and just call. The turn is the 3 of hearts, nothing really changes. I check to my opponent, and he's going to bet again, this time for $320. Now my plan here is to call and fold the river versus a really big bet. Like I say, we've got to be kind of respectful of the fact that he stabbed the flop, bet the turn, and then theoretically bet the river. I think I would just fold on the river versus a bet. Anyway, back to the turn here. I go ahead and make the call. The river is a safe looking 6. I might have to call a bet now if he does bet. I check to my opponent, and he snap checks back. I of course win now. I show my hand, and my opponent actually looks a little annoyed as he mucks his cards. I'm guessing he had value on the flop in the turn there. Nice safe river for me. Maybe a 10-9 and he's been counterfeited on the river. Either way, this pot is coming my way. It's the second pot and as many that I've played tonight. Things going very smoothly. And next up, I'm in the cutoff with ace-3 of clubs. It folds all the way around to me, and I raise it on up to $60. The button is a pro. He's going to make the call. The small blind is a pro. He's going to make the call. And the big blind is a pro. He's going to make the call. 4 ways we go to the flop. It is Jack 10 for rainbow. Bit of a swing and a miss for me here. It checks round to me, and again, we've got to be really careful with our frequencies. Very few airball c-bets for us, I think, so I just check. Happy to see the button check as well. The turn is the 5 of clubs. I pick up a ton of equity, so when it checks to me, I take a stab here for $180. The small blind is the guy from the last 2 hands, and he's going to throw out a dreaded turn check raise versus my delay c-bet. He makes it $640 to go. I can't do much else here other than just call and pray to hit the river. Looking for a club or a deuce? It's not a club. Instead, it's an unbelievably beautiful red deuce on the river. I've got such a disguised monster hand now. My opponent is going to bet out for a whopping $1,260. I am dreaming of Vegas and the effing Mirage as I fake tank for a little while. After a few seconds, I shove all in for around $3,300. I fade the bluff snap fold. He is really thinking it over. He asks for a count. The dealer eyeballs my stack, gives him the count. He is deep in the tank. I am staring at the middle card on the board. This is what I always do if I'm bluffing, value betting. I'm consistent. I just stare at the middle card and try and give nothing away. My opponent thinks for a very long time before eventually folding. I think this guy has just folded pocket 4s. I really do. It's so hard for me to be bluffing here. I never have worse for value if he's got a set of 4s. He's a Euro. Euros are really good at the outrageous folds. Who knows? Kudos to him if he has just gone ahead and folded that. Haven't lost a pot so far here tonight. And next up, I'm under the gun with King Jack of diamonds. I raise it on up to $60. It folds all the way around to the fun player in the big blind. He makes it $160 to go. We're quite deep here. He's also done this a couple of times tonight, and once he actually showed up with 7 deuce when he did it. He seems to love 7 deuce. I'm thinking, let him have 7 deuce here as I make the call. We go heads up to the flop, 10-7-3 with 2 diamonds. I still really want him to have 7 deuce, to be honest. He c-bets his hand for $300. I'm never raising. I'm of course never folding. I just call. The turn is a board pairing 10, and now my opponent decides to check. I start reaching for chips, and so does he at the same time. This is a classic tell of a recreational player that wants to appear strong. I bet out for $660 here. Now, I've got equity if I get called. I never expect to be check raised on this turn, and it's a really tough spot for him when he's got hands like ace-king and ace-queen. Even for a splashy fun player, they're going to struggle to call when the top card pairs. Sure enough, after reaching for chips when I did, it's a classic tell, like I say. He just folds his hand. Easy for us to just check back on the turn here, but it's a nice spot to make better non-pair hands fold. Happy with my decision to bet and ultimately take it down. I am up $3,000 so far tonight. Things going so well so far. I legitimately haven't lost a pot. I get a little giddy for the game and suggest a round of straddles. The table agrees, and in the second or third hand, I pick up black queens in the blinds. An American pro is going to raise to $120. I put in the 3-bet out of position to $500, and unfortunately, everyone just folds. I just take it down. No luck with black queens in the round of straddles. How about red queens instead, just a few hands later? Under the gun makes it $120. The fun player is next to act and makes the call. I am next to act yet again and put in the squeeze to $560. It folds all the way back around to under the gun. He makes a relatively quick call. The fun player is going nowhere as well. We're going three ways to the flop here with about $1,600 in the middle, and there's a queen in the window. Lovely spot for me here. Not only have I flopped the set and always have the best hand, but if one of these guys has got top pair, we could win a very, very big pot. I throw out a c-bet of $440. Under the gun snap folds, and the fun player snap folds as well. Bugger. Answer me this, guys. Is this hand run good? Is it run bad? I don't even know. I can't really complain too much being up $4,300 after just an hour of grinding tonight, but a little anticlimactic that nobody had top pair there. Stack is looking very, very pretty here with around $7,500 in it. I love playing at the Bellagio. I love these orange $20 chips. They remind me of my beloved Motherwell Football Club. Running really well so far here tonight. Flopping a bunch of sets. Can we squeeze out one more with these pocket nines? Middle position is raised to $60. He's a quiet but reggy fella. I'm on the button and make the call, and a tighter recreational player is going to call out the big blind. We go three ways to the flop. Ace, 9, 7. What is going on tonight? It is another set on an ace high board. Action checks on over to me. Even though I've got middle set, it's so tempting to just play my hand. I think my range wants to bet half pot here. Don't quote me on that, but generally more players in the pot equals more smaller bets. So I'd be disciplined and bet out for $100. Like I say, so tempting to size up because I've got a set, but I'm going to play my range, not my hand. The big blind folds, but thankfully the original raiser is going to make the call. The turn is a dreamy 7 to give me a full house. I was going to overbet the brick turns, but again, I don't think we can overbet now. Sure, we're polarized when we bet here, but we've got basically no 7x. Middle position has got plenty of 7x that can check call on the flop versus a half pot stab. I think my size on this turn is 75%. Like I say, overbetting the brick turns, but we don't have much 7x here. We don't want to overbet into a range that contains more 7x than us. So again, I'd be disciplined and I just bet $300. Again, middle position is going to make the call here. To the river, it's a meaningless 5. Nothing changes. I have been very disciplined so far, playing my range, not my hand. But now it's time to get a little bit greedy. I unblock the ace and my opponent has some 7x here. So I size all the way up to $1,560, going for maximum value, and he fucking snap calls the river. He called so quickly. I show my nines. He silently mucks his cards. Pretty sure, given how quickly he called on the river there, he's got a 7 basically always. What a dream run out there for me and my pocket nines. I am up 7.2k. What a couple of hours it's been. The game is also pretty good. This next hand doesn't involve me, but it is extremely worthy of including in the vlog. So I'm not in the hand, like I say. I look up from my phone on the turn, see the American Pro on the button betting out for $380. The fun player is in the small blind, and he check raises on the turn to $1,400. The American Pro thinks for a few seconds and then makes the call. Brick on the river, nothing really changes. The fun player checks again. The button bets $1,700, and again the fun player check raises. He throws out a 5k chip and announces 5,000. The button is clearly in a lot of agony at this double check raise. He basically tells us all that he's flopped the king high flush. Don't actually see it, but I for sure believe him. He was a really nice guy. He tanks for ages and ages and ages and eventually folds the river versus a double check raise. I can't resist. I have to ask the non-pro the question.
Show off. Bluff.
2-7. Oh!
What an absolute baller he is. I can't believe he got that through. This session is kind of winding down for me a bit now. Calling a 3-bet with this jack 10 of clubs in the cutoff versus the button. The flop comes down king 9-3. I spin the RNG for a check raise on the flop, but it lands on call. Just folding versus the bet on the ace turn. A couple of hands like this to lose back around $800 or so, but absolutely cannot complain. Locking up an almighty $7,006 win on the night. Heading to the cashier. Absolutely delighted with this. Really, really smooth night tonight.
Guys and girls, nobody touch me. I am on fire right now. That was amazing. I won $7,006. Fun fact, I was up 8k and I lost a couple of very standard hands at the end. And then locked up. I was like, I'm done. I've got the G's and C on the fun player. I don't care. I'm done. Locked it up. Here with my buddy JP, aka BBS6 from New Jersey. He is here for the summer, coming and going all the way back. to New Jersey. Are you excited for the summer?
It's going to be a great summer.
Did you win any money tonight?
$200.
Did you 3-bet 10-9 off from the big blind?
Frequency.
Right, that'll do it for this episode. It was supposed to be a 3-part thing, but it's going to be a 2-parter. I had a lot of fun making it. Really hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'm up about $11,000 over the 2 sessions, which is pretty good indeed. And we're off out into the Vegas night. So thank you very much for watching. If you could click the sub button, I'd be very grateful. Until next time, YouTube, take it easy.